Yes, good morning, everybody. Got those Friday vibes. How are we all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. It is Friday. We've got a game tomorrow. We're going to be speaking about the Bournemouth game. We're not going to be speaking about the takeover too much today. There's a little snippet on Jim Ratcliffe that I want to speak about, but there's plenty of other stuff. We're going to run through everything that happened last night in the Premier League with Newcastle and Brighton, manager of the season nominations, player of the season nominations, training ahead of the game, my starting 11 for the Bournemouth game. And there's loads of other news, and I'm sure, fire in your questions. Now, it's Friday, so it's map day. We'll bring that up a little bit later in the show. And today's going to be the first of, like, what do you call it? Spot prizes. We always do. We've got the monthly raffle. Remember, the 500 quid for the winner this month. Someone's going to win it for a quid. Make sure you enter. You can follow the link in the description, or you can use that QR code there. But today, as soon as we hit 500 likes on the video, going to do a spot prize to somebody in the live chat. So if you are watching on YouTube, I can give it to somebody on Facebook too. But if you're watching, make sure you drop a like on the video. As soon as we hit 500, I'll do a giveaway today. Why not? Friday vibes. Who's here in the comments? Have a look. Tom, Miles, Teresa, and Hatchet Mac. T, you're there as well. David Bruce watching on Facebook. Good morning to you. Mo Salad, Charlie, Peter Walton. Isn't that a ref? Peter Walton. I think it is. He's the guy they always go to for like, what do you think, Pete? I think he's like the guy. He's on BT Sport, I think he is. Might be making that up completely. Jake, Kieran, Fred, Pizza, Darren, Stephen Lawrence on Facebook. Carl, you're there as always. Josh, you're there. Alex, good morning to everybody watching around the world. It's been I wonder how you call this week. Another frustrating week, I suppose, with the continued delays on a takeover. And you can see the headline of today's show. It's all around the fact that Ten Hag's transfers, according to David Ornstein, they're certainly going to be held up by this takeover, and it might be more likely that we get sales before we get signings. I'm going to cover that little bit of a video coming up from David Ornstein later in the show, right? There's so many talking points. That's why I love doing this. This keeps me on top of everything that's going on with the United, because if I didn't do this show, I wouldn't be able to keep on top of it. So Sod knows how a regular fan can keep on top of it. Let's run through it. Last night, we were hoping that that Brighton could do us a job. Come on, Brighton. Absolutely not. Newcastle. I think Newcastle might be what would you say is the biggest surprise of the season? It's probably Newcastle or Brighton, I would argue. But I personally think that Newcastle is probably the biggest surprise of the season. I expected Newcastle to sort of, over the next couple of years, to be knocking on the door of the top four and to start, becoming competitive. But every time I expected Newcastle to fall away this season, they've found a new gear. They really have been quite impressive. Fulham, Miles is saying down there is a big surprise. Yeah, there's definitely a few in there, but Newcastle, all credit to them. Really good performance last night. Deserved the win. They deserve that top four. I think I was looking at Opta probabilities. I think they're now 94% likely to get a top four spot. Now, United have also got, I think we're 82% likely. Liverpool, they're still lingering around us. And if we lose this weekend, it's going to get squeaky bum time, that's for sure. But for me, Newcastle, you can't say, I can't begrudge them. Very, very good at home. Spanked us, beat Arsenal. Absolutely wallops Brighton in the end. 2 late goals. Really, really, really impressive from them. What else are you saying down here in the comments? Villa as well after sacking the manager. We're going to run through the Player of the Season award nominations, the Manager of the Season nominations. There's loads and loads of cool talking points today. And we don't just have to get frustrated and bogged down in, takeover talk, because I know everyone gets frustrated about that. Shax, how you doing, man? You just gifted a membership. What a ledge. Who's a lucky person? Thomas Parry, you are now blood brothers with Shax, because he's just gifted you 1 membership. What a ledge. Hero. Yesterday, the Europa League and the Europa Conference League finals were set. Sevilla, of course, Sevilla got there. I don't know what they got some serious power in that Europa League. But did you see the stats in the Marine? I think I said last week. I said I genuinely like Mourinho to win the not the Champions League, the Europa League, because I like the romantic idea of somebody winning the Europa Conference League, bringing Roma their first European trophy in 30 odd years, and then going to the Europa League and doing the same thing and getting 2-2. It would be impressive. It was a very Mourinho performance. I think Sevilla had, no, not Sevilla. Bayer Leverkusen had like 23 shots. Roma had 1. They had like 20% possession. None on target. It was it was very Mourinho. So congratulations to both Roma and Sevilla. And West Ham and Fiorentina as well. West Ham getting through to their first European final since what? Was it 1970 or something? Credit to them, right? Credit to him. And did you see this video? I've got to pull this one up because this one blew my mind. This is the after the West Ham game. There was a set of AZ Alkmaar fans who were trying to go up the stairs to where the players' families were, and this dude at the top of the stairs. I'm not condoning violence here, so don't try and label me with that. He's there protecting. Man, what an absolute hero! What an absolute ledge! Single hand. Well, there's 2 of them. It's like proper. It's Hodor vibes with him. Just doing that. It was shocking. I mean, where are the stewards? Where are the police? Absolute madness. But he's just literally held them off. So I've got to say, I've got to give him a little round of applause for that. I had to mention it. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. 3 Italian teams in 3 European finals. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Fingers crossed that works out. And you know what it is? This kind of makes me feel a bit old, I think. It's been 10 years. I think it was 10 years yesterday from Fergie's last game, the 5-5 against West Brom. Pop question, who scored a hat-trick in that game? Fergie's last game. It was 5-5 against West Brom. No, you're not going to win anything. But pop quiz. Nathan saying, absolute Don. Swinging haymakers, protecting families. Yeah, man. It was just some serious bravery and strength there to do that. Oh, look at that. Loads of you straight in. Everyone loves a quiz, right? We should probably do quizzes here. Leander, you are the first one. You win absolutely nothing, but you answered it first. Yeah, Lukaku. Remember that. 5-5. Absolutely balmy game that was. The only 5-5 in Premier League history, I think. I still think that. I think that's still correct. Not sure. Ah, look at that, man. There's a couple of legends down here, and there's 2 proper legends. Gungshi and Jay, both gifting 5 memberships for Fergie. Double gong tap. Software update. We're really getting there with the software. I'm hoping. I'm not going to put a date on it completely, but I'm aiming for the start of June for this whole thing to be leveled up massively. Really, really leveled up. And if I can get that to work, I'm going to be so happy. But yeah, 10 years since that. Man, my word. Unbelievable, Jeff. Unbelievable. Moving on to the player of the season and the manager of the season nominations. As I said, there's loads of decent talking points around football. Well, United have got involvement here. And certainly got involvement with the player of the season nominations. You can see down there, Marcus Rashford. Who are the 7? We've got De Bruyne, Haaland, Kane, Odegaard, Rashford, Saka, and Trippier. Man, it's a decent set. Who do you think's going to win? I mean, is it a rhetorical question with Haaland? I think it probably is. I know it is. It's definitely Haaland. How many goals he scored now? I don't even know how many goals he scored. Arsehole. But Marcus Rashford, he's been quiet, I would say, in the last, I don't know how many years. How many years? Jeez. However many weeks. He's definitely been quiet. But he's absolutely deserves his place there. Hold on. Hold on here. Hold on. We've waited a long time for this conversation. A long time for this conversation, all right? But this is a conversation we're now. So congratulations to Rashford. I think he deserves his place there. He's not going to win it. But we've got official confirmation. Phil Jones is leaving Manchester United. I need to sit back, think about this one. Phil Jones is leaving Manchester United. This is a conversation I thought we were going to have last season, season before last. I don't know, 5, 6, longer than that years. I thought that Phil Jones was going to be leaving. Let's see what the actual press release says. All right. Phil Jones is set to leave Manchester United when his contract expires this summer. Okay. That's a nice little video. I might watch that video. I won't watch it now because I'll get slapped down for copyright. I really do. I might do a video on this, you know. I might cover that this afternoon. I'm not sure. I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to celebrate the fact that he's leaving because that's wages off our books. It's a player who's not going to be playing for our club, who shouldn't be there. It's the right thing to do. I do have quite a bit of sympathy for him, and I genuinely feel like he's given everything, and at every possible turning point, his body's gone, his body's snapped. I think it's Manchester United's fault, really, for giving him that extent. When did we give him that last contract extension? I can't remember. But Phil Jones leaving. Wow. Wow. That is a moment. Yeah, I know he's turned down a testimonial, and that's absolutely right. And fair play. He could have had it if he wanted to, but that would have been like, why is Phil Jones getting a testimonial? I know he's been here long enough, but he's only played, what, 220 games? Egbert, you sent a super chat, dude. Oh, look, Manchester United just announced that Phil Jones is to leave at the end of the season. One sec, let me get somebody to cover that on the social accounts. Please cover. There we go. Nolly at work. But look at that. I hope Phil Jones can go elsewhere and genuinely have a career. I'm not sure if there's anybody who's going to take. Maybe Phil Jones will get a pay-to-play contract sort of vibe for a year. And then if you prove yourself, then you can, I don't know, you can get a permanent contract. But Phil Jones is leaving Manchester United. That's a big old moment. It's not a big old moment. Who am I kidding? It should be happening. But it's actually happening. So that's why it's a big moment. As I said at the start of the show, by the way, we're on 233 likes now. As soon as we get to 500, going to do a spot prize giveaway to someone in the chat. And I'm going to try and do this every single Friday from now on. Bring the Friday vibes. Do a giveaway every single Friday. So all you got to do is just drop a like on the video on YouTube. As soon as we hit 500, then I will do a giveaway. All right. In terms of the manager of the season nominations, well, there's obviously a name missing from there. You got Arteta, you got De Zerbi, Emery, Howe, Guardiola, and Silva, and no Ten Hag. Now, I think for anybody to get offended by Ten Hag not being in this, I kind of think it's a bit of faux outrage. Like, Arteta, of course he deserves his place there. De Zerbi definitely deserves his place there. Emery, I can understand. Maybe I would probably go Ten Hag ahead of Silva if you're going to be speaking about anyone. Who would you choose? I think I'd go Eddie Howe. I genuinely would go Eddie Howe. But yeah, Ten Hag not being there, it doesn't bother me that much. Like, fuck it, who cares? It makes no difference to the success or the failure of our season. I don't know. I think maybe him being there above Silva, you can have an argument about. Emery, I think, Villa were relegation candidates before Emery came in. Now they're all of a sudden, are they going to sneak into the Europe? I can't remember. De Zerbi, Brighton have been, it's either Brighton or Newcastle the biggest surprise this season. I personally think you give it Eddie Howe. Someone down there saying Pep deserves it. Screw Pep. Screw City. Sod them. Just throw them. Just pretend they don't exist. I mean, it'll probably be Guardiola, won't it? But look, I think Eddie Howe deserves it. So I'm going to shout that. And yeah, I don't really understand the sort of outrage around this man actually not getting it. Which kind of leads us onto the conversation, and the main talking point of the show is around transfers and around the delays of them. Now, this is going to be a clip from 5, an interview with David Ornstein, where he's speaking about transfers. Just quick 50-second clip. have a listen to this and we can have a discussion.
And so right now, Manchester United, to my knowledge, are not able to move on much at all. You speak to people around the club and there seems to be quite a clear sense that they might have to sell before they can buy. While there's uncertainty over the ownership situation, it could take departures to free up the funds for acquisitions. And when you look at who and what areas, definitely the striker role. But the longer this goes on, you think, a situation like Harry Kane may be more complicated. We've talked on here about how Tottenham don't envisage selling him to Manchester United. They probably want to hold on to him and try and renew his contract, or maybe even let him go for a free in 2024. But I don't think they can do a great deal until there's some clarity over the ownership situation.
David Ornstein there, I wouldn't say he's told us anything new because it's something that we've all thought. But the fact that he's spoken to insiders at Manchester United and everyone is kind of singing from that same page, it's not really the right way to describe that. We all hoped that this summer was going to be the first summer after the Glazers. The first summer where we can move on and the start of something new. However, it's not going to be that way, is it? It's the 19th of May now. The season ends in 9 days, Premier League season. We've obviously got the FA Cup final on the 3rd of June. So we're a couple of weeks away from all football being over. And I believe that the transfer window opens on the 10th of June. Now, the idea that we need to sell players before we can sign players, that's something that we've talked about previously. And I presume that's because of sign-off on cash, presumably. Because that's what you got to wait to about new owners or something like that. I don't know. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Jay, how you doing, buddy? You're saying, Sam, do you have any further news on the City allegations? I'll mention that a little bit later in the show because I don't want to sort of divert away from this point, Jay. But yeah, there's a little conversation we'll have towards the end of the show about that. Malps, you're saying we all know under the Glazers always expect disappointment. Bob, you're saying I'd be seriously pissed off if this is the case. Well, it is the case. And unfortunately, this summer is now going to be hopefully the final nail in the coffin. Hopefully the last time where a window gets affected by the ownership of the Glazers, but it will be affected by the ownership of the Glazers. As frustrating as it is. As I said, David Ornstein wasn't leading with anything new. But to hear it from David Ornstein, to hear it from those close to the club, it's sort of that is the feeling around the club at this moment in time, and it is very frustrating. It really, really is. Oh, Jay, man, Jay, you're like a gifting icon, like Gungshi. You all deserve little pictures, little paintings. Heroes, man, heroes, legends. John saying, "Oh, only 180 more likes needed." It always makes me laugh. It always puts a smile on my face. As soon as we mention giveaways, everyone's like, "Let me like that video quickly." It's funny, man. But look, yeah, it's Friday, so as soon as we hit 500, we'll do a quick giveaway. What else am I going to say there about transfers? I've spoken about Kim Min-jae. You know full well that release clause for 47 million comes into effect in the first 2 weeks of July, and Man United are in conversations there. But of course, we can't execute that until, we actually have new owners. And speaking of new owners, I thought this was an interesting thing that was released today from the Times. They do it every single year, the rich list. And look at, so Jim Ratcliffe now, by the way, remember here that it's not Jim Ratcliffe buying Manchester United. It's Ineos buying Manchester United, of which he is the majority shareholder. It's his company that's buying Manchester United. But from a personal wealth perspective, look at this curve. You know how we've all been sitting there getting rinsed? I'm not sure if it's the same around the world, but certainly in the UK, we're getting rinsed on our energy bills. Energy prices have gone through the roof. And so has his personal wealth. Look at that for a vertical spike. I'm not going to sit here and praise him for it. I think it's disgusting how these energy companies are making so much money whilst just regular folk have to pay ridiculous through the roof prices. but that is some vertical spike for personal wealth for Jim Ratcliffe, for energy companies. So yeah, I think the prior conversation was remember when we first spoke about Jim Ratcliffe's personal wealth and we were all talking around about 6 billion. Yeah, that's not the case anymore. That's what, increased by 500%. My God, arseholes. They are properly arseholes, energy companies, all of them. I don't know how that. Well, it's just all down to the government. But let's not get into that. All right, it's a Friday. We're having good vibes. Let's not sit here and talk about government, about energy prices, X, Y, Z. That's just an interesting snippet and a conversation that I thought was worth having. Just like this is, right? Lisandro Martinez signed for the club last summer. Why does that just sit like that? There you go, it's better. Lisandro Martinez signed for the club last summer, had an incredible breakthrough season. I think so anyway. And now Man United, according to Fabrizio Romano, are already considering a new and improved contract for Martinez. So I want you, tell me what you think about that in the comments below. Because on the one hand, we'll all be saying, well, Martinez deserves it. He was incredible. On the other hand, there's going to be people who say, well, why do we need to give Martinez a new contract? He's just signed a 5-year contract. He's only had one of that, so he's got 4 years left. What would be the reason why we give him a new contract? Would it be to maybe remove a release clause? Maybe there was some, I don't think United typically do contracts with release clauses in, but maybe. Would it be to give him, would it be right to give him increased wages? I don't know what wages he joined on. It's I didn't really think we'd be having this conversation after a season. I'm not upset by it because I think Martinez is going to be here for a few years. And I think he's going to be one of the cornerstones of this new United era. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just curious as to why. That's why I think so anyway. Alex, you sent a super chat. Let me read that out. I don't want to miss that. Thank you very much, dude. You said at the start of the season, our biggest transfer would be the club sale. If that means one slow summer window with the Glazers gone, then so be it. Well, Alex, I think the reason we're all going to be frustrated about that is because it didn't need to be a summer that was affected with the Glazers. We hoped that it was going to be happening beforehand. It's just that it's dragged out. Man, this is the way it's been played out. So this summer will be affected by it. And we see what you're saying down here about Martinez. DJ Superfly Guy. You're saying Martinez should be captain. I don't know who's going to be our captain next season. But I would be surprised if it wasn't Bruno. Because for Ten Hag to not give it to Bruno would be his way of saying, I didn't think you did enough last season. I wasn't impressed enough by you, which I don't think you can really say about Bruno's performances. So I'd be surprised if it wasn't Bruno. I'll be completely honest. Liam Platt, I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a terrible decision. Alex, I would agree with you in saying it seems a little bit premature. And you're saying if you're talking about a new contract, it means someone sniffing around him. Players don't get new contracts because United get, I don't know, scared and twitchy because of a transfer rumor. Come on, people. That's not how new contracts work. Give Martinez the armband. Matthew, you're saying there's no need to rush into a new contract. Ashwin, is it to do with FFP? I don't know. Andy's saying, don't give a new one yet. It's got Gabriel Heinze written all over it. Heinze, man. Such a shame. Did Heinze try to join Liverpool when he was leaving United and Fergie blocked it? If I remember that correctly? So I'm pretty sure that's in the back of my mind somewhere. And then he ended up joining, was it Inter Milan? Might have just completely made that up. Where did Gabriel Heinze, he left United? Real Madrid. Swing and a miss on that one. I think he tried to join Liverpool. I can't remember that. You can let me know in the comments. I think all of us are, I don't know. When it comes to player contracts, we want the club to get it right this time. With everything, we've got to get it right. It's been such a big problem big problem with our football club for so long. It's why we've had to wait so long for this to happen. The Phil Jones story is something that we've got to learn from. Tuanzebe will be leaving as well this summer. Who is it that got Marcus Rojo? Do you remember when he got a contract? And we couldn't, I think it took us 2 years to get rid of Marcus Rojo because nobody was paying his wages. Phil Jones, we've had to wait for his contract to run down. Axel Tuanzebe is a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious about the timing of the idea that Martinez would get a new contract. Love the bloke. Really, really do. Just curious about that. I don't know what his wages are at the moment, but let's see what goes on there. I thought that was an interesting talking point. Donny van de Beek's back in training. Well, back on the grass at least. He's not going to be playing at any point over the next 3 games, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he's ruled out for the rest of the season. But congratulations to Donny. I think it was Bournemouth that he was injured at. I think it was against Bournemouth where he was injured at Old Trafford. And now before Bournemouth away, he's back on the grass. I want Donny van de Beek to be sold this summer. I don't think he's got a place inside this squad. And this is me, if you want to call it ruthlessness, you can call it what you want. That's just me removing any sort of sentiment from the players inside this squad who deserve to stay and the players who don't. Van de Beek, I believe, should be one of the players out the door, but maybe Ten Hag will be willing to give him another opportunity. Maybe. It also depends if anybody wants to buy him, because I imagine he's on pretty decent wages. I can't imagine we get much for him. I think he should go back to Ajax. Not in a horrible way. I think he'd be welcomed back to Ajax with open arms. I think he'd know the environment. He'd thrive in it. And he'd be like, good, I love football again. I don't know whether he's ever going to get that at Manchester United. He's just going to have to sit there, just watch Bruno Fernandes, and maybe get 10 minutes in a European game or something like that. Don't know. Is Ashwin down there saying, look, since he was a player for Ten Hag at Ajax, he might get a chance. Yeah, cool, he might get a chance, but he's already had a chance and a chance and a chance. And then he got, how many games prior to his injury? I think he started 6 games in a row. And still we were like, that's what it's like. Just don't think we should be keeping Donny van de Beek. And that will depend on whether there's somebody who actually wants to sign him. All right, that's going to be the important part of it. But let's move on. Last 15 minutes of the show or so. How are we looking on the likes? Have we reached the target yet? We're on 394. We only need 106 more likes and we can get the giveaway done for today. And every single week, we'll do a giveaway. That's what more could you want? 20 million max for Van de Beek, says Nizam. I don't know how much. It's not about what we paid for him. Man United signed Van. I swear it was cheap. That's why we signed him. 39 mil. Jeez. Never mind. Nah, I don't think you'll get 20 mil for him anyway. I think you get somewhere between 10 and 20. And I think he'd go on to enjoy himself at Ajax. And I think that'll be fine. But Bournemouth this weekend. How are you feeling about Bournemouth? Right? The team news ahead of the game that we know of is that Marcus Rashford is back in the team. He's back training this week. We don't know whether he's going to be available yet. Now, I'll run through my predicted starting 11, which does include Marcus Rashford. But he's been training at least since Tuesday, I think it was, with the first pictures of him being back on the grass. We need him back in the team. Now, somebody else who's returning is Scott McTominay. But he's only back training on the grass this week, so he might not be fit enough to be in the squad. Do you think McTominay could have done a job in these last few weeks? This was my predicted starting 11. You can see that I've got Rashford up front. Let's go a little bit more full screen on this. There we go. Got Rashford up front there. I've gone Garnacho on the left wing. Anthony on the right wing. That would be my front three. That would be Martial dropping to the bench and Sancho dropping to the bench. What do you think about that as a front three? I don't think I've changed anything here. The rest of that team there is the same team that played against Wolves. The only changes I made were Garnacho coming in and Rashford going in up front. Dudley, you're saying Garnacho should not start? I mean, I would disagree with that. I would definitely disagree with that. Garnacho should be starting this game. That's a personal preference. And something that I've thought about as well is Ten Hag blocking, or just not agreeing with Garnacho going to the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. It's stupid that they did that during the season when games are still on. Anyway, but because Garnacho wasn't allowed to go to that, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of him just being kept on the bench for every single one of these games and just coming on for a little tiny cameo. I think that would probably piss him off. I'll put this down as a good comment there from Alex saying, let's do it as a poll. Right, let's get a poll up here. Do you think Garnacho should start? Should Garnacho start? Yes or no? There you go. Dudley, you're doubling down, saying that Garnacho works better as a sub than as a starter. I would say, yeah, just because the majority of his games have come from the bench. But then you look at the game against West Ham. Was it the FA Cup? I think it was the FA Cup, where he started, was the most dangerous man for the entire game, and then also scored the last-minute winner for United. So, at some point, Garnacho will be a starter for Manchester United. And Martial scored in the last game against Wolves. I'll be totally honest. I don't think Martial played well at all. I don't really think Man United's front attackers didn't. Anthony was easily our most dangerous player against Wolves, but there was a lot of frustration around it. Oh, it's tickling nose. There was a lot of frustration around his final product. And that would exist until he is a polished player. But Anthony will definitely start this game. Anthony's an absolute sure thing up front. I think the other two, you can argue about the positions. Should you start Martial up front over Rashford? Should you start Rashford on the left instead of Garnacho? I don't know. Let me see what you're saying in the poll. We've got, look at that, 250 votes in a minute. Boo! Everyone loves a poll, don't they? 64% of you think, 65% of you, sorry, think that Garnacho should be starting this game, and 1/3 of you don't think that he should. Am I going to be upset if we see this, right? Garnacho dropped to the bench, Rashford on the left, Martial up front. No. I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to cry about it. It just depends on which structure Ten Hag prefers. Would he rather Garnacho came on as a sub? Or would he rather Garnacho came on as a sub? I'll go back to what I think should happen. I would like to see if Rashford is fit, he should start up there. Then Garnacho should be there. And then your two subs to come on for those two players are quite straightforward. Sancho coming on for Rashford. No, Sancho coming on for Garnacho. Let me go there. Sancho coming on for Garnacho in the second half. And Martial coming on for Rashford. Easy. I would prefer to see that. But let's find out. Let's find out. DP is saying Garnacho is more informed than Rashford's only played like a couple of minutes. Bring Rashford on as a sub. Robbie, you're saying I trust Garnacho more than Martial. Hey, man, we've only got 3 games left, right? 3 games left. And let me pull that photo up again. Is it that one there? Because Newcastle, we go back to look at the Premier League table. Newcastle absolutely stormed it last night against Brighton. They've pretty much secured themselves top 4 now. For them to, I don't think they can. Well, I mean, they technically can, but yeah, not really. They'd have to lose both of their last 2 games and everyone else win all their games, I think, for them to drop out of the top 4. Newcastle aren't a conversation anymore. We've just got to do what we can do. Like, that's what I mean. Like, we spoke about it earlier in the week. You know how horses wear blinkers when they're in racing? Some horses do anyway, because they get distracted by what the other horses are doing. They're like, oh, what's this guy doing? And they go get distracted by that. Sod that. Put the blinkers on. Focus on the 3 games ahead. Bournemouth, Chelsea, Fulham. Do the job against Bournemouth and Chelsea. We can enjoy the last game of the season without trepidation. That'll be a game where you can start Kobbie Mainoo. You can bring in a couple of youngsters. And you can just enjoy the spectacle of it because top 4 is secured. And that'll be a very nice position for United to be in. And it'll be a really fitting way to end the season. I think so anyway. If we can have the last game of the season where it's just like, remember like last few, I can't remember what the last game of the season was last season, but it was crap. Season before, I think it was Solskjaer. I think that was when we had to beat, wasn't it 2 years in a row where we had to beat Leicester? Was it 2 years in a row? We had to beat Leicester on the last day of the season to get top 4. I know it was 1. I don't know whether it was 2. But I don't want that on the last day of the season. I don't want any surprises to come on the last day of the season. So get the job done. Right, get the job done. Bournemouth, I've already ran through this in my preview. Bournemouth, they've secured their position in the Premier League next season. They have nothing to play for. That should mean that United have got an edge. Should mean. Sam's in-depth analysis on the psyche of a horse. That sounds like some sort of chat GPT essay. Write 1,000 words on the psychology of a horse before the Grand National. Callum, you're saying no, it was 1 comfortably second in the low second season. I swear that I maybe it was made up then. Maybe it must have only just happened once. I don't want that again. I can't be up. Just do the job, lads, right? Do the job. Please. We can still do the job if we lose against Bournemouth, and I hope the players don't think that. Our away form is giving us all the heebie-jeebies, as it's been giving us the heebie-jeebies all bloody season long. Wow, look at that. Leo, with an absolutely... That bottle of whiskey is your photo. I'm not sure. Where's it going at? You just gifted 10 memberships. That is some Friday vibes. That is some strong Friday vibes there from Leo. Leo's my sister's favourite boy's name, I think. Well, she likes Leo. Everyone likes Leonardo DiCaprio. What's your favourite Leo film? Type it in the comments. What's mine? I like Wolf of Wall Street. It is a cracker. Come on. It is a cracker. I only seen The Revenant once, though. I need to watch that again. And Django Unchained. I haven't seen that in ages. Man, he's got some good films. Jeez. What are we saying down here in the comments? Well, we've all got fit. Everyone type your predictions in for the Bournemouth game. And I'll pull them up. Someone saying Departed. Someone saying Inception. Departed. The only time I watched Departed was on like a bus in Thailand. You know, one of those long buses, you get like a 9-hour trip where you got a TV screen that's about 10 rows in front of you, and you're like trying to watch it like that. That's the only time I've actually watched Departed. Titanic, definitely not Titanic. Catch Me If You Can, man. He's got some cracking films. Absolutely cracking films. Really, really does. Look at this. Speaking of cracking, look at this for an absolute scorcher of a graphic from Ollie, who's been putting out some blinders this week. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter if you like this sort of stuff. I don't know. It gets you excited for the season coming up. That's the reason we do this sort of stuff. But look at these numbers. I thought these numbers were fantastic. It's a lot of data there. There's a lot of numbers. I know. But basically, it's a percentile rank down there comparing Amad Diallo to other wingers in the Championship this season. The higher the number, the better he is compared to all the rest of them. And look at where he's performed really well. Accurate forward passes, no one's better than him. Accurate long passes, 92nd percentile. Accurate passes overall, 98th percentile. Deep completions. Defensive duels, 1. It's impressive. What's this one? Goal conversion, 4 passes, goals per 90, passes per 90, passes into the final third. Amad really has had an impressive season at Sunderland. Interestingly enough, look how low this one is. Look at his crosses. Like, he does not cross the ball. He is a dribbler. I mean that in a positive way. He's not somebody that we could expect to come into this team next year and to skip past the outside of a defender and to fire a cross in. That's not what he's been doing this season with Sunderland. He's been a creative and goal-scoring attacking midfielder. Really is impressive. And that's why I like that graphic there, because Garnacho on the left, Amad or Anthony on the right-hand side, Garnacho or Rashford or Sancho on the left-hand side. It's going to be exciting. And you're down there saying too good for the Championship, but not quite enough for the Prem. I mean, how can you know that? No one can know that. He's clearly too good for the Championship. And Ten Hag is the right manager to nurture talent. It's one of his strengths. Garnacho, a really good example of it. From the tough love in the preseason with dropping him because he was late and how he's managed his game time, it's all enabled him to reach this point at the right time. Really good management from Ten Hag with Garnacho. And I hope that it's going to be that sort of management again with Ahmad, who I think he's a couple of years older. Well, at least 1 year older. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Because when we watched him last time at United, he was very slight, very easy to push off the ball. He wanted to drift past somebody, but couldn't really go shoulder to shoulder with anybody. He's definitely improved. And that it goes to show the power of a good loan spell. Really does. Ahmad's the perfect example of it. Get a good loan spell and it can transform a player and certainly bring them in. Right, look at that. We're on 496 likes, which means that by the time I look next, we're going to have reached 500. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. What should I do? Maybe we do a quiz question. Man United trivia. Let me try and think of one. Right, it's going to be fastest finger first, right? What club did Manchester United sign Alejandro Garnacho from? Boom! So whoever types it in first, you're going to win the spot prize, and you're going to have to reach out to me because I won't have any way of contacting you. But I'm looking here. I can see the list. Stephen, I will be bringing the map up. Don't worry about it. But we've reached the fable 500 likes. So we've got a winner, and the winner is. I'm going to give it to you, right? Because it was Atletico Madrid. I know exactly what you were trying to type in there. But locker room chatter, you have won the giveaway. What we're going to do, we're going to give away one of these bad boys. Not that one in particular, but we've Stan Chow. Thank you very much, Stan. Been a pleasure to have so much of his art up on the wall, and he loves the community. So what he's done is he's given me plenty of Stan Chow posters to give away to you guys. Locker room chatter, you're going to be the first one. I'm going to type an email address down here. This is of the community manager, right? Email address is there, locker room chatter. Reach out to Dan, give him your address, and he'll send you a poster. Free of charge, giveaway here on United People's TV. And look, Atletico Madrid. Thank you, Atletico Madrid. Thank you so, so much, Atletico Madrid. That's why I was a little bit like, should I give it to him? Look, I knew what he meant. It definitely wasn't Altrincham. Everyone's like, I said it before. I said it before. It doesn't matter what you think. I'm looking at what I've got on my screen and the list of names when they come in. All right? So don't get offended by it. There's no fix. It is what it is. There'll be another one next week. All right? Big up to you, my friend. Big up to the community for making these sorts, just all this stuff happen. Somebody mentioned, who was it? Was it Jay? I think you mentioned about the City charges. You've seen this. You've seen this. City's lawyers have lodged an appeal because one of the barristers involved in the process is an Arsenal fan. You honestly would think it's parody. You genuinely would think it's parody, wouldn't you? You know full well that City's lawyers delayed the UEFA allegations by so much that all the charges became time barred. They took so long with the process that they couldn't use the evidence against them. Now, they can't do that with the Premier League because Premier League's rules, nothing can be time barred, and they can't go to I think it's the Court of Arbitration to try and lodge an appeal. This is properly, Robert, you're saying it there, clutching at straws. They're going to find every which way and angle of saying, oh, you can't do this. Imagine trying to say, oh, yeah, you can't. You have to ignore all these facts and evidence. This bloke's an Arsenal fan. Case dismissed. Let's start again. Case dismissed. Fuckers. Everyone's just talking about how good this team is. I think I had didn't get into an argument on Twitter yesterday, but there was some bloke who was a United fan who's up in my comments saying, well, what's the difference? What's the difference? And he was defending City. Ridiculous. Genuinely ridiculous. And know that this is going to be lasting for years and years and years, I think. I reckon somewhere between 3 and 4 years before this whole thing stops. Comment there from Bob, which is a really good comment. Oh, no. Wrong one there. Wayne, sorry. When's the next podcast out? Really sorry about the podcast this week. Couldn't record it on Sunday. I felt like crap on Monday because my ears were all over the shop. My head was ringing. So that's why there wasn't a podcast this week. But we're going to be recording on Sunday after the Bournemouth game tomorrow. That will hopefully be out on Monday. And I really want to get that out once, twice a week. So I love doing the podcast. It's just I'm doing so many teams, so many places, so much content in so many different places that sometimes I can't do it all. And that's why. Milk Taste saying, have you seen Phil Jones' letter to the fans? No, I haven't seen that yet. Let me try and pull that up. It came out 18 minutes ago. It's going to be a long old letter, isn't it? Oh, yeah. It's a long old letter. We won't read that here. Tell you what we'll do to finish off the show there. It is. It's map day. Of course, it's map day, which means 3 or 4 of you, depends how nice I'm feeling. 3 or 4 of you will get on the map, the fabled United People's TV map. Where are we now? Last 5 on the map. We've got Pradesh in India. We've got Dordrecht in Netherlands. We've got Horton, Vestfold in Norway, Edinburgh, and we've got Maryland in US of A. So let's see who gets on the map now. We've got, look at this, 437 different points all around. Look at the red flags on that map. Just like take a second to look at it. People from all these countries all around the world have been tuning in over the last year, 2 years, whilst we've been building this map. It puts a big smile on my face every single time. Let me see who's down in the comments then. And if you're already on the map, don't add your name back in here in the comments because there's no point me putting you on the map twice. All right? What have we got? We've got Preston in Lancashire. You're on the map, definitely for sure. We've got, oh, look at that. We've got St. John's, Newfoundland in Canada. Man, I want to go Canada. Newfoundland. Oh, not Newfoundland. Newfoundland in Canada. You're on the map, sir. Welcome aboard. CJ, I don't think we've got Indiana on the map. Anybody else going to go and watch Indiana Jones in the cinema? Because I definitely am. I've watched Harrison Ford's speech yesterday at the Cannes Festival. It was really nice. He's 80. He's absolutely 80. Saeed watching from, was that Georgia? GA? Look at that. From Georgia. Let's get one more on the map. All right, I just want to do this because I can't spell it. Gummy watching from Bois de Lour? Bois de Lour? Yeah, good luck. See if this won't. Bois de Lour. De Lour in Iceland. Yeah, go on then. That'll do. That's probably not in that because that was, I think that was Reykjavik. Sorry, Gummy. As just you've got certain vowels and consonants there that I just don't have on my keyboard. But look, I love how all around the world this community is. I really, really do. It's another week of I've tried my best to cover it. Sometimes I get a bit too involved in the chat. Sometimes I get pissed off. I think we're all a little bit frustrated at what goes on. Hey, hopefully over the weekend we can come with an impromptu live because there's big breaking, genuine developments with the sale of our club. That's what we want. If not, I'll be here on Monday. As always, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. UK time. You can rely on me to be here. I'll be here tomorrow with my match reaction. I'll be here at lunchtime today with my lunchtime video. I'm looking forward to it. You're looking forward to it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And congratulations. I can't remember the name, sorry, of the winner. What is it? I can't remember it. Anyway, big up to you. Big up to everybody. And I'll see you all soon. Have a cracking weekend.